Hello, everyone. I'm so excited you're here for our workshop together. I know some of you are probably needing to hop off at a certain time if you have to go back to work, or if you're trickling in late, don't worry about interrupting me. This is supposed to be interactive, so make sure that you ask me your questions. And if you are watching the replay, don't be shy to ask me questions and send me an email or connect with me. Remember that I'm always open to connect. So we're going to get started in a few minutes, but if you're here and watching, go ahead and type in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Maybe let me know what you're having for lunch. Let's just have some fun, get to know each other. We are going to dive right into the workshop, Pain-Free and Powerful After 40. I'm going to go over those 3 proven strategies that work. And hopefully you will get some ideas and some strategies to take away with you today so that you can start feeling confident and strong and moving in your body without pain. And if you're suffering from peeing your pants, you can stop doing that. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I'm just going to quickly type in the chat. If you hover your mouse over the bottom, you can use the drop-down menu and just make sure that you're typing to everyone so everyone can see your questions, because your question is likely someone else's. So make sure you do that, and I will check in frequently with the chat to make sure I'm answering your questions. Feel free to hop off, or not hop off, hop on, unmute your video, unmute yourself and open up your video, because it's always nice to see your face. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can use the chat. All right, so this is not like any masterclass or workshop that you may have experienced. It's not just, a boring old webinar, okay? This is a workshop that's designed to help you, give you the tools and strategies to finally trust your body and feel confident and free to move your body the way you want. So you have freedom to, do all the fun things in life. You will stop peeing your pants, move without pain, increase energy, and feel better than you have ever. This training is not about a quick fix. It's not about a Band-Aid solution. There's no empty promises or random healthy habit hacks. Okay. And when you stay till the end, you will get my free gift. Okay. I've created a checklist that I teach all my clients, and I call it the Moms 3 checklist, because busy moms sometimes have a hard time prioritizing ourselves. And these are the 3 must do. They're not cumbersome, but they are the must do that you do daily, which will help you move towards your goals, your fitness goals. And you're here because you're serious and you're committed to thriving in your 40s and beyond. Am I right? Let me know in the chat if that's why you're here. And you want to do it without, pain and throwing out my back, leaking, peeing in your pants, giving into this idea that aging means it's downhill from here. And I want you to consider staying open and curious. Even if you hear some things that might sound familiar, I want you to try and stay focused, stay open, and committed to hearing the message in a different way. Because if you're still struggling to keep up with life and all the fun things you want to participate in instead of just kind of sitting back and watching, then something needs to change. And it's exactly why I created this training, this workshop. And you're about to hear countless stories and science-backed processes to finally become confident and strong without frustration. It's what I teach all my clients. And when you stay till the end, you will get that checklist, okay? I teach this to all my clients. Sometimes it can take from 1 to 3 to 5 visits to really nail these things down, which means each visit is about $200. That's $600 in value that you're getting just for staying today till the end of the training. That's my gift to you. And if you actually want to start truly healing your body from inside out, kickstart your way to feeling confident, strong, and stop peeing your pants for good, make sure you stay till the end so you can grab that checklist. Okay, so by the end of the training, you are going to learn how to stop peeing your pants, move without pain, increase your energy, and feel better than you already have. And if you're sitting there thinking, this is just another boring webinar about the importance of health and mindfulness and exercise, then you're not alone. Okay, that's what my client Brienne thought too. And she, when we first met, was frustrated because she had an 18-month-old, so she was well over a year postpartum, and she was still feeling stiff and sore and really not confident in her body. She was constantly in upper back pain. It started with tension and then it led to pain. And she was doing all the things she thought that was right. She was going to yoga classes regularly, several times a week. She was going to physiotherapy regularly, and her background is kinesiology. Funny story is that Brienne and I used to work together. My first job was in a clinic where she was a kinesiologist, and so we actually worked together years and years ago. So, all that to say, she had the background, she was doing all the things she thought was right, and she was still in pain. And this is what Brienne has to say after she finished the Move with Ease method with me. She says, I feel stronger and more confident after completing the program with Tatiana. I've been able to get back into a yoga practice that I actually can enjoy and not feel cautious about movement as I was. I don't worry when I go for a hike with my toddler. I used to worry that I would go too far and then he'd need to be carried and I couldn't do it. Now I'm confident that I can do that without paying for back pain later. Huge wins. So this is for you if you are a busy mom or a busy woman, you know, approaching your 40s, or maybe you're already in your 40s and beyond, and you feel stuck in a body that you can't trust. And you've tried all the things, right? You've tried physio, chiro, massage, osteo, acupuncture, whatever else. And it feels like you're just getting through your day and avoiding hurting yourself rather than thriving and enjoying and showing up strong and confident. And also, this is for you if you're someone who has struggled with incontinence, right? Maybe you're leaking at inopportune times or peeing your pants when you try anything high impact like run, jumping jacks, trampoline, forget it, okay? And you've tried the things. You've tried Kegels. You've tried special devices that you put up there and it doesn't seem to do anything. You've tried pelvic floor therapy and it feels like a lost cause. Type in the chat or hit reply and let me know if you're watching the replay, if any of this is resonating with you, okay? You're not alone. And finally, maybe this is also part of your struggle, or maybe this is your main struggle. You keep getting repetitively injured, or you have pain in the same spots in your body. You feel stressed and overwhelmed. And, you know, every time you try something, you end up getting hurt. You talk to your doctor about it. And you keep hearing the word perimenopause. It seems to be a big buzzword these days. And it feels like no one has a solution. Do you just chalk it up to that? I'm here to tell you that it's really not your fault, okay? There is so much information out there. We live in a time of info overload. There's too much external noise. It's really hard to quiet down and tune inward. And quite possibly, this isn't your wheelhouse either, right? Just like if your car broke down, you wouldn't know how to fix it. And you could be Googling and researching and YouTubing forever without actually knowing what to do to actually fix the root cause of that problem. The same goes for our bodies. But for some reason, particularly women and moms, we feel that we should be able to solve it ourselves, like DIY it. As moms, we serve everyone around us first, our kids, our families, work, maybe elderly parents. We deal with appointments and teachers, our kids' things, and we hold down the fort at home, all the things, groceries, laundry, all that. But what if we could lean on support for us, right? What if we could conserve our time and energy and use and take out the guesswork that actually ends up costing us our health and our well-being? It's not a rite of passage that after you have kids, you have to live with back pain, or that after you have kids, you have to pee your pants, or after you have kids, you just feel stuck and lost in a body that you don't recognize. That isn't the rite of passage. It doesn't have to come with motherhood. So here's the thing. There's a couple of things, a couple of truths about what's really keeping you stuck. Okay, a bunch of misconceptions that I have seen over the years as I've practiced and coached my clients, and even in my own body. Okay, and I'll get to that a little later. But the biggest one is this idea that we need to abide by insurance. And I get it. Insurance, if you have it, covers, your therapies like physiotherapy, chiropractic therapy, massage therapy, but feeling like we're restricted to that container, that amount, those appointment times, that is actually a limiting factor for how far you can take your potential, your transformation, your health. Okay. Depending on the therapy visits, right? Waiting for that visit to feel better. What about the in-between time? Treating your parts as parts. Okay, you are a whole person. When you go to the doctor and they say one area only, it's not really, that's not how the human body works. We can't completely treat the hip if there's a root cause that's coming from the lower back, or we can't completely resolve the knee pain if the root cause is coming from the hip and something in the mid back, right? So and all that's I just touched on physical. There's also, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual parts too. So we need to treat individuals as a whole person. Okay, so not connecting the dots inside out, not connecting the dots in all aspects of our body, mental, physical, emotional. And a big thing I see in my practice is not moving your body consistently daily in 3D. And I'll break that down for you today together. All right. Don't believe me, believe my clients. Okay. My clients have the best success stories. This is Maggie. She's also a good friend of mine. We just ran the Boston Marathon together. She is a busy mom of 3 busy boys. They are all in hockey and sports and lots of activities. She's a teacher, and she has now run 5 marathons. I have to update that. 5 marathons without stopping to pee at a porta potty, and her pants are dry. She's a teacher too, like I said, so busy all day on her feet. And her husband travels a lot for work. So needless to say, she has a lot on her plate. But she was able to incorporate the 3 strategies that I'm going to talk about soon to help her get to her fitness and health goals. Anna has 2 kids, and she's a burlesque dancer, super cool, and an event planner. Her and her husband co-own Harmon Steakhouse in Ottawa, and she event plans for that restaurant. And she didn't know that she could alleviate her back and knee and hip pain. She thought it was just part of her dancer gig. She, she's grown up in ballet and always thought she had really good posture because of her dance background, and now a burlesque dancer, a lot of performing. And here she was thinking that it's all because of her past that she has to suffer through her 40s. But now she is actually thriving. Okay, she is thriving. She is able to do her dances on weekends with less pain. She is less stressed and less tension in her body and less overwhelmed. Hi, Brittany. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from. And Brittany, don't be shy to ask me any questions. It's meant to be interactive. So let me know if you have any questions. You can also type it in the chat if you're shy to turn on your camera. And you know what? Earlier this year, Anna was on stage and she fell. And actually, I interviewed her about this incident. You can check my Instagram to watch her interview. It's really amazing. And she fell on stage in high heels and she was able to recover on stage, which is fine because she's a performer. That's not surprising. She just, she told me she flew into a back bend. The audience went wow. And then she opened up her fan, gathered up her gown, finished her routine, and went off stage. What really surprised Anna was that typically, if something like that happened, she would feel anxious after, right? Adrenaline carried her through the performance, but after she would feel that heart racing, she would feel hot, she would be tense and just feel really embarrassed. And the next day she was very pleasantly surprised that she wasn't stiff and sore and that she felt okay. And that's huge because through our work together, she has really learned to calm her nervous system and not overreact and allow her physical body to flow through those kinds of incidents. It's not like it didn't hurt. Of course, like falling hurts, but it's the recovery after that's really important. Do we hold on and stay tense when we are aware and we have that mindful awareness of that mind-body connection? It really helps us recover faster, avoid big injuries, and then we can move forward. So that's Anna there. And I really do invite you to go listen to her interview on my Instagram. It's very inspiring. So the real question is, how do you become like Maggie and Anna? How do you become confident and strong in your body, trust it, and not pee your pants if that's something you struggle with in the fastest way possible? So in my own experience and what I've learned with working with my clients is that the most fast and efficient way to become strong and confident is through mindfulness paired with movement. And we use a technique called the Move with Ease method. And how do I know this? You're wondering, how do you know this? Okay. Here's a little bit about me if we're meeting for the first time. I am a mom of 3 busy kids. And I have been a physiotherapist for over 12 years, and I've been teaching yoga and mindfulness in the community for over 10. I went from being just like a recreational athlete, like I never grew up playing competitive sport. I just was always loved movement, but I went from being a rec athlete in my younger teen years into my 20s into becoming a seasoned runner in the last 3 years and going through some pretty big injuries myself, going through 3 pregnancies and 3 labors, peeing my pants in my 30s, and just really overcoming some of these things in the last 3 years. So much so that I qualified for the Boston Marathon. I just ran it last week with Maggie, actually. And yeah, I did not think that I would be running marathons and running faster and feeling stronger than I have in my 40s compared to my 20s, but here I am. So there's that, and the success that my clients get to enjoy. So this is why I know that these 3 strategies truly work. Let's highlight some of my clients so that you get a picture of how things work for them. This is Karen here. I've got her picture here on the right. And Karen is a teacher as well, a mom of 2 girls. And I'll tell you from her words, she was starting to feel the effects of aging. She's not even 40. Okay. She's that magical age of 37. I always tell my clients, when we hit 37, we just got to treat our bodies a little differently. It doesn't mean it's downhill. We just have to be a little bit more intentional and mindful with our movements and our body. So she was starting to feel the effects of aging. Stiff hips. So Karen has danced her whole life. So hip mobility was something that she kind of always had. And she just noticed, oh my goodness, like, how come I feel stiff in my hips? I've never felt this before. And she also thought, what happened to my bum? I don't have a bum anymore. What's this like? I never used to understand the mom bum joke, but now I get it. And she says her core felt really weak. And it was like she couldn't trust her body like she used to. Karen says, the main challenge for me was to find a community and a routine to ensure that I would commit to movement and mindfulness and to prioritize myself. My biggest fear about aging is that my body won't be able to do what it used to, or at least with the same ease. I do not want to be limited in my activities or travels because of my age. I have learned that making time for myself is good for everyone around me. Also, taking care of my health now is an investment for my future self. The community that Tatiana has created through her program is invaluable. She's really positive and inspirational. For me, this program is a consolidation of all the other health modalities in one spot. She's extremely knowledgeable, not only about the body, but the mind-body connection. And I love the personalized experience. So Karen is there, and you're wondering, what is this first step? What are these 3 key strategies? So here we go. We're going to talk about the 3 key pillars that everyone needs to achieve their health and fitness goals, feel strong and confident, and stop peeing your pants if that's something you struggle with. So the first is connection to breath and inner core. If you think about it, we breathe probably at least 7 to 15 breaths a minute. Okay, but we talk way more about food and food intake more than we talk about breath. So breath is super important. How we breathe is really important because it's how we feed and fuel our body every minute of your living day. And then the breath is connected to your inner core. Okay, your inner core is not your core, which you may be thinking of. Let me know in the chat what you think of when you hear the word core. There's no right or wrong answer, but let me know in the chat if you have a guess. I'll give you a couple of minutes. I'll go on though. The second thing that is super important is 3D movement. Okay, we'll go through that in detail together. But you have to remember that you are a 3D being, and every joint, every muscle in your body craves and wants and needs 3D movement. And then the third pillar is mind, body, energy connection. I can also say mind, body, spirit. When I say spirit, I don't mean religion. I'll break it down a bit more when I get to that third pillar. Brittany says core strength, like where your strength comes from. Yeah, that's great. A lot of people, when they hear the word core, think of your six pack, the abdominals, and that is part of it. But there are actually many layers, and the deepest layer of our core is connected to our breath, which is why it's so important that we connect to our breath. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, inner core, breath, I've tried yoga before, I've done mindfulness, I've done the exercises, maybe you've been to pelvic floor therapy. Let me know in the chat if you have. And it didn't work for me, which isn't your fault because likely you were given a cookie cutter exercise or cookie cutter program and told just to breathe and be calm, be present. And that's like saying, okay, you try a salad once and that's enough veggies for the rest of your life, or only eating kale when there's like a whole rainbow of veggies. And you might be thinking, well, can't I just go to yoga class or fitness class on my own? And you can, which is what, remember, Brienne thought, the client I talked about earlier. But when we started fine tuning her posture and her movements and really helping her connect deeply with her breath and her inner core, it changed Brienne's practice. It got her the results she wanted. Finally, she got the results she wanted. And she could then go back to those community yoga classes with a newfound mind-body connection to her breath to ensure that the time, financial resources, and energy she was spending going to those classes was actually helping her rather than hindering or hurting her. Because if you don't, then you run the risk of continuing the vicious cycle, right? You're going to the gym, or you're going for runs, or you're doing whatever it is that you're trying, but nothing feels like it's actually changing. Or you keep going to therapy appointments just to get 1 to 2 days of relief and no real lasting results. Okay, so pillar 1 is truly connecting to your breath. So what do? The first step, this is the best tip I give all my clients, is establishing a strong breath and inner core connection so that you have awareness of what's going on inside your body. Okay, and when I say inside your body, I know I keep repeating myself, but that's a hard concept to grasp if you've never connected to it before. It's your inner core and breath, which means your diaphragm, your 4th layer of abdominals, it looks like a corset, and then your pelvic floor, which is at the bottom. It holds your bladder, it holds your babies, it holds your bowels, and a little long, like tiny Christmas tree-like muscle that's very deep in your spine. Okay. And these muscles, they're the deepest layer. And you might be thinking, I've already learned that with my pelvic floor therapist, or I've tried breathing. But the reason why it didn't work is because we can't single out just one part of it, right? We can't just do the breaths. We can't just do the Kegels. We can't just do the core, like the middle contraction. We have to put it all together. It's like connecting the dots, or like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And if we don't, which I've seen in my practice, when we only do a billion Kegels, but we don't pay attention to how the Kegel relates to the breath, we end up with too much tension down there. And then you kind of end up with other problems like lower back pain, hip imbalance, which can lead to, literally could lead to knee pain and other things. And the reason that people pee their pants, listen, I used to pee my pants too, is the best way to explain it is that if you think of your bicep, okay? So just do that with me for a second. This is a full range of motion right now that I have because my bicep is here and the roll of the bicep lifts my shoulder and it folds my elbow, okay? If I'm kind of tight and have tension in my bicep and I'm like halfway, it's going to be really hard for me, or it's not possible really, to open my arm and pick up the dumbbell and curl it. So imagine this in your inner core, in your pelvic floor. If you're already kind of halfway, and you might not even know if you're halfway or not, because you have to first develop that mind-body awareness, the connection, and you're being told to do a billion Kegels, and you're just Kegeling like this, you're going to create more tension and stress and overwork that muscle when it really maybe what you need is to learn how to open and relax, let go so that it has the full functional mobility. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense to you. So listen, I used to pee my pants too. And after my second child, I can remember running a 10 km race with my husband. Yes, good. Thank you, Brittany. And at 8K, he was like, let's go, let's push it. And I had the energy, but I could feel like if I run faster and like have more impact, I'm going to pee my pants. And well, whatever, I did. And it's so I get it. It's embarrassing. It's awful. And I hated it. But the best part is I learned so much about how to overcome this. I learned so much about my inner core throughout that time period of my life. And I now have none of these issues. And now I've had 3 babies and I can run 10Ks. I've run 2 full marathons without stopping for the porta potty. And it's possible. Okay. So remember Brianne again, she was the one in the first few slides. She was going to yoga classes. She was doing massage. She was doing physio and still suffering from neck and back pain. And it wasn't until we really worked on this pillar and the two other pillars I'm going to tell you about that she overcame that hump. She raised her ceiling and now she's, able to do workouts and go beyond, feel really strong and confident in her body. Let's talk about Nicole. So Nicole is actually, she's also a physiotherapist. She's now a professor at Queen's University in kinesiology. And Nicole and I actually went to physio school together. So she is a friend of mine. And she just felt like she was struggling as she was getting a little older. She's also not 40 yet, but getting close. And she just felt like she had two young kids. She was a full-time working mom. The pandemic forced her to be mothering them, working from home. She was very busy. And yeah, she really noticed that it was taking a toll on her body and she was waking up with aches and pains. And the big reason that she reached out and joined was because she was racing her daughter, her 4-year-old, across the parking lot. And she suddenly, because she hadn't ran in a long time, she felt really weird and awkward in her body. And so that was strange for her. And then she was playing with her two kids, so her 4-year-old and 1-year-old, and she rolled her ankle on the ice. It didn't sprain, but she was like, oh, that didn't feel good. And then fast forward a week later, she stood up from her desk at work, her computer, and she fully rolled her ankle and it sprained. And she was like, okay, yikes, I need to do something if I'm getting ankle sprains from standing up from my desk. So she says, it goes to show that even though I know all the things, these things can still happen to me. And Nicole says, I realize that I need to get my body in a healthy state so that I can get down and play with my kids and get back up. I want to be able to keep up with them. I want to race my daughter in the parking lot feeling good. And being a busy working mom, compounded with, just the sedentary type of lifestyle that we all tend to have working at our desks, I really noticed the negative effects on my body. And I loved working inside the program with Tatiana and the other women because I could get my questions answered. I had accountability and community to rely on, collaborating, and a step-by-step customized plan where I don't need to do any of the brain work. I can just do it, feel good, and move forward. And straightforward action tasks daily without carving out hours and hours of time at the gym or going traveling to whatever class or therapy appointments. Like, time is one of mom's hottest commodities, I would say. So that's how Nicole felt too. Any questions so far? Please don't be shy to ask me. Hi, Addie. Nice to see you here. If you want to type in the chat any questions, feel free to ask me. It's meant to be interactive. I know, sometimes people are shy, but if you want to show your face, I'd love to see you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to pillar 2. And also, guys, if you missed the beginning, I'm recording it so I can send you the replay. Just send me an email and let me know. So pillar 2 is 3D movement. Okay, so picture yourself. Are you a 3D being? Let me know in the chat, right? Sometimes we forget and we are so used to, our phones and devices and screen time, we forget. And we do a lot just this way, right? Typing forward, driving, cooking, cleaning, whatever it is. And we have to remember that actually we are 3D. So I'm going to get you to stand up with me. And we're going to do what I call XYZ spline. I teach this to all my clients. Before we actually move, I'll just show you a little spinal model quickly. This is just 3 bones, but actually your spine is 24 bones. And this is the back side. This is the front side. From the front of your spine, you have a disc in between each bone, and your spinal cord runs through that hole, okay? So this is actually a joint. So 24 bones, the one in between is a joint. At the back side, you also have two joints, left and right, from the bone above and below. So if you do the math, 24 bones with all these joints, we actually have more than 50 joints in our back, which is crazy if you think about it. Think of how stiff your knee feels when you sit in a car ride too long and you like want to bend and straighten your knee. Your spine has more than 50 joints. And when we sit all day or we're sedentary, those joints are craving that same like open close movement that your knee would crave after a long car ride. So XYZ spine takes care of that for you. Okay, so if you take away anything from pillar 2, you've got to do XYZ spine. So do it with me. X is this motion of movement in this plane. So we're going to go chin to chest. You're going to gently roll forward, soften your knees if you need to. And then you're going to roll back up nice and slow. The more you picture each bone doing the movement, the more you're going to feel each section of your back joints doing it, okay? You don't want to move like as a stiff board. You want to feel like each backbone is doing a little bit of work. And then each section of muscle, each little joint in those back bones are getting some movement. And when you do that, your joint fluid, so our joints have fluid, the fluid gets replenished and renourished. If we're sitting for too long and stagnant, it's like a still pond. Picture that versus like an ecosystem that is getting rainwater and flow from the the lake above, and it's like fresh new nutrients. Okay, so that was X. Now we're going to do Y movement, which is moving in this plane. So you're just going to do side bending. So drop your ear to shoulder, shoulder to hip, and then the same on the other side. Okay, so this one's, a lot of people feel really stiff with this one because we don't really side bend a lot during the day, right? So just be gentle with yourself. And, if you can encourage a bit more, go for it. And if you can't, that's okay. You just want to try your best to encourage that. And then the last movement, I know my camera just shut off, but I'm going to keep talking. The last movement you're going to try is a twist. So when you twist your body, you're doing Z, okay? So think X, Y, Z. If you ever did algebra class, that's what I'm referring to, like X, Y, and Z is that 3D dot through the paper. We're just doing that with our spine. So again, sometimes twisting might feel sticky if you've been sitting all day. Just do it slow and just be curious and open. Can I maybe twist a little deeper after I do a few? If not, that's okay. Oh, I have to reshare my screen. Here we go. How did that feel, Brittany, if you did it? Let me know. Good. Awesome. Any questions? Pop them in the chat. All right. So push that button there. Yeah. So pillar 2 is really about understanding the importance of movement quality in 3D and applying it to all your muscle groups, right? We just did our spine, which is awesome because we hit up some of our back muscles while doing it. And we learned a little bit about why it's important for your joint health to relieve stiffness and tension. And then my clients that work with me, we really unpack that for each part of their body so that we can get that full range of motion, prevent injury, and learn where they tend to hold. When we pay attention, we really do discover a lot about ourselves and notice patterns, right? And speaking of patterns, I'm going to tell you my story, which is really interesting because I practice this stuff and teach this stuff, and I didn't even realize I had a pattern in my body until I got really hurt. Okay, so in April 2023, I was in the middle of training for a marathon, and I ran a 30K race in Hamilton. And after that run, I was really injured in my right hip, couldn't run my main marathon. And it wasn't until I really paused and reflected that I realized that I had been carrying a story with me for a long time and it wasn't serving me anymore. And the story was that I'm right-handed, I'm right-legged, I've had 3 kids, so my right SI joint is your sacroiliac joint, okay? My right SI joint is always a little off. I'm using quotations because it's not true. And you know, it's just like that's just my body. Okay. I was told this by other therapists. I unintentionally probably favored that side without really knowing it. And by favor, I mean whenever I demonstrate things in my yoga classes or with my clients in person or virtually, always leading with my right leg because I am right-handed. Okay. So this is a story that I unintentionally held on to. And it wasn't until I was set back from running for 7 months, so like a hard 7 months because I love running, but I really had to take a look at myself and really dig into these pillars for me. And it's how I got back to running pain-free. I no longer have this hip problem. And I'm actually running faster and I'm lifting heavier weights and squatting heavier weights than I ever have in my life. Okay, so all this to say, it is really important to really look at our bodies and feel our bodies and be aware of every part of us physically first, right? To notice patterns that may not be serving us anymore and really like unlearning them and then relearning the right ones. And this 3D movement is really important for that. Third pillar is this mind body energy or spirit connection. Okay. How do you even do this? Like if you practice any yoga at all, you might have an inkling of what I'm thinking, what I'm talking about. But even for those who do yoga, sometimes this is still like kind of foreign. Okay. And it's hard because it's not tangible. Like range of motion, we can measure it. Strength, we can measure it. Fitness, running, we can measure it, right? In kilometers, or I can, measure my heart rate. Mind, body, energy, spiritual connection. This is a little bit tough, but it's still very important. And the best tip I give my clients is to slow down enough so that you can be aware of how you actually feel, not because of external noise, but truly from within. Like, how are you feeling today? What do I need? What do I want out of my day, my week, my year, my life? How do I talk to myself? Like, what are the thought patterns that come up? Am I kind to my body? What are my go-to reactions when I can't do something? Like all these things are really important, okay? And you might be thinking this is woo-woo, and I don't have time for this. I have a job, I have kids, I gotta, go, do what I need to do. And yes, I'm not saying we need to slow down every moment of the day. Trust me. Like how could we work and be moms if we did that? But it is important to take little pockets of time that maybe you already have, right? When you're in line at the grocery store, when you're sitting in your car waiting for your kids' dance class to be over. Like we do have small pockets of time to kind of just take a breath and tune in to our needs because that's really important. Okay. And because if you don't do it, you run the risk of repeating patterns that no longer serve you. Kind of like what I told you about me. That was a physical pattern, but there are also emotional mental patterns that you don't even realize might be holding you back. And I'm going to explain this through Nikki. Okay. So my client, Nikki, and she would totally admit this too. She was one of my more stubborn clients. Stubborn meaning like in her mindset. So Nikki is a former hockey player. She played high level competitive hockey in her teen years. And she is very competitive with herself and with others. It's just like that's how she grew up, probably. And it's just like in her nature. And she actually came to me and was like not a yogi at all. And she had done lots of physio, lots of massage, and all the therapies. And she found me because of like what she needed. But she said to me, I hate yoga, but I know we have to do it. And, you know, I'm just going to kind of go through what Nikki has to say about it. I'm a mother of two energetic kids, and my husband and I have the privilege of coaching some of their teams. Okay. And one of the big reasons that she wanted to work with me is because she really hated that she couldn't give it her all. She couldn't bend down sometimes to pick up the puck. She's a pretty tall woman. And then on skates, even taller. So bending down was really tough. And she's had multiple knee surgeries on her left knee due to her old injuries. And she really struggled as she started to get into her 40s and beyond because she was feeling much older than she should. And she was noticing her body was like stiff and sore. And it was due to all these like compensations because of lack of trust in her left knee. But she didn't even know it. Right? She didn't even know that she was behaving that way. But the reason she was behaving that way was because her thought pattern was, my left knee is bad, my bum left knee. Like these are, there's a lot of joking, but there's also a little bit of that negative self-talk, right? And we really had to help her unlearn that, reestablish a connection, trust her body and her left knee again. And she says, it wasn't until I started working with Tatiana that I became aware of these compensations. I've reestablished a connection with my left leg, relearn how to move my body, and transform my mindset from one of pain and fear to confidence, strength, and reduced discomfort, all through the convenience of virtual sessions. Thanks to working together, I've been able to get back to CrossFit. I'm playing team sports again. I can coach without limping and feeling like I need to take a seat. I have been equipped with the tools I need, mental and physical, to overcome old patterns that no longer serve me. I've found a new love for non-competitive movement, that's yoga, and continue to learn how to be patient with my body. So really happy for Nikki. And um, this is one of those things that until you work with a coach, with a therapist or practitioner that can really dig into this is an essential piece to take it to that next level, right? Take your health and your transformation to that next level. Doctors are very busy. They don't have time to dive into this. Traditional therapies, chiro, physio. I'm a physio, massage. Like when you're waiting for those appointments, it's really hard to stay connected with this piece in particular. And we really can't separate the mind from the body from the spirit, spirit from the mind. Like I said from the beginning, you are a whole person and it's interconnected. And we do really need to address all these pieces to truly get our goals and, live in the healthiest versions of ourselves as we can. Any questions so far? Let me know in the chat. So nothing here that I've shared today is fluff or theory that might work. It's exactly what me and my clients have done to stop peeing our pants, stop moving with pain, and actually start to live life being able to do the things we love, show up with confidence, strength, and trust our bodies. Okay, so you learn these three pillars today, right? This is what you're taking away today. Breath and inner core connection, it's essential. You need to master 3D movement in your spine, which we did today, but also the other parts of you need it too, right? Your shoulder joint, your knee joint, your hamstring muscle, all of it, okay? And the mind, body, spirit connection, right? Or you can call it energy. Because if you don't have these three pillars, then it's going to be almost impossible to achieve your goals of feeling strong, confident, and free and overcome incontinence. But the problem so many moms face, so many women face, is that likely this isn't the first time you're hearing this, okay? Likely you've heard it before, and you really have to ask yourself, if you know what to do, if information is so abundant, why is it that the majority of women over 40, particularly moms, are still struggling with pain, still peeing their pants, and, keep saying, I'm going to start again Monday, or I'm going to start again next month, or I'll do it when I have time, or I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. Why do you think that is? It's because they lack implementation. They lack a customized strategic plan and that support that is needed to implement it day after day. Okay. So now you have a choice. Okay. You can take some of what we learned about today and do it. You can do it. Or you can hang with me for a few minutes and I'll share with you exactly how my clients see results like this, right? Like Maggie and I just ran the Boston Marathon, and she actually sprained her ankle 6 weeks ago, and she had a good cry at first. An ER doctor, she went and got an x-ray just to make sure. And a doctor told her she was not going to be able to run in 6 weeks. We ran the freaking Boston Marathon together. And that is through, really working on those 3 pillars. And of course, she had to take action and rehab her ankle, but we had to do it through moving through those movements, connecting with her body and rehabbing it. And she did it. Nikki, which we just heard about, she can trust her body and knee again, okay, and get back to CrossFit and coaching. Brianne, from the beginning, she didn't know what she was missing. She was going to yoga classes, massage, physio, and she says Tatiana bridges the gap. And now I'm truly connected to my core and body. I can keep up with my toddler and go to yoga classes without pain. So the reason that you're here and that you signed up for this workshop is that you're probably not the type of person who gives up, right? You have so much more life left to live, and you want quality as well as quantity. I mean, why else are we working so hard, right? We don't want to retire and sit in a rocking chair. So now you have a choice, okay? You can continue to do the things that you're doing. Maybe you're doing repetitive therapy appointments, and it's bound to coverage by insurance that don't provide lasting results, and you feel stuck in your body, you're still peeing your pants, or you don't feel like you can, participate in all things you want to do. But the fact that you're here means that you likely know what to do. You've heard it before. You're just lacking the strategic implementation and the customized strategies and coaching to help support you. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we do it together? We do it inside the container of the Move with Ease method program. Okay. Inside this program, it's a 12-week container designed to help you stop peeing your pants, move without pain, increase your energy, and feel better than you have in the last, X amount of time. People that have joined have felt, not confident or strong or trusting their bodies for anywhere from 6 months to years. So guaranteed. And that's my promise to you. I will work with you until you get the results that you want. Okay. So here's how it works. When you sign up today, you'll receive instant and lifetime access to the step-by-step curriculum that I've designed to take you by the hand and take you from peeing your pants to showing up strong, confident, and trusting your body, moving without pain. In addition, you'll receive some incredible bonuses, okay? Unlimited coaching and support from me. You get a great community, which will hold you accountable, and access to workshops. So when you're a member, you have access to any trainings and workshops that I host outside of the program. That's why we use a customized coaching curriculum, because it gets you results faster that actually last. Okay. Most people are trying to Google or follow a cookie cutter template, programs or exercises, relying on one-to-one therapy appointments that are old, and honestly, they're outdated because of their insurance. And it leads you to feel like you're stuck and you're in a plan of care that takes way too long, takes longer than it should, and it doesn't even get you the results that last or the results that you truly want. And that's why I use a customized coaching curriculum, so that you get your results faster and they actually last, and you're not stuck in permanent rehab. So here's how it works and why it's better than one-off appointments. Okay. One-to-one clients end up paying like over 10K over time, and again, with no results. One-to-one also means it's slow. You wait for your appointment, you ask your therapist the questions, then you go home with your exercises, print it out on a sheet or on something to follow. But inside the program, you have access to me at all times and the private community, and a roadmap, a customized curriculum, a coaching plan, actionable step-by-step things that you do daily that are going to guarantee your results. Okay. And I, throughout my time as a physio and as a yoga instructor and as a coach, I saw a need for this, for moms to have an accessible option. If you join today because you came to the workshop and you registered, you can get started for just $383 USD today for 6 months. Okay, I'm going to drop the link in the chat so that you can sign up and have a look at the features. If you have any questions, let me know. I would be happy to answer them. I'll stop sharing my screen for a moment. What questions do you have for me? I'll drop the link. I also have your free gift, so don't run away before you grab your free gift. Here is the program enrollment link. Make sure you grab that link and save it. And I will be sharing the checklist as well. Oops. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions. If you're watching the replay and if you have a question, make sure you let me know. I would be happy to answer them. You can DM me on Instagram or just fire me an email, no problem. Sorry, my tech is not working right now. Yeah, so the checklist, remember, is here. Oh, I didn't hit enter. There's your checklist. Make sure you grab that. That will help you, remind you what are the things you need to do daily to make sure you feel good in your body and start feeling strong and confident. And if you get started today with me, you have instant access to the customized curriculum. The special bonus for spring is that you'll be able to work with me for 4 extra weeks. You'll also get 3 optional if you want to book one-to-one coaching. We'll have 3 bonus extras for you to take away this time if you sign up within the next 24 hours. And if you have any questions about the program or anything that is coming up, let me know. I would be happy to answer them. I'll hang on with you for a minute or two before I need to hop off. but I would love to hear your questions. Let me know what was your favorite pillar. Maybe you discovered something about your body that you didn't today. I would love to hear it. Let me know in the chat or unmute yourself, and I would be happy to chat and hear about what your takeaways are here. For those of you who might be on the fence, if you're thinking, yeah, I want to do it, but I have, some questions, you can book a call. I don't have a ton of space left, but if you really are seriously considering, reach out to me via email. We can book a call to kind of meet you where you're at, go over your goals, and see if it's a good fit. Okay. So I hope that you learned something. And if you're curious at all, remember, I'm always here to connect and answer your questions. I'm going to hop off. I'm going to stop the recording. If you're watching the replay, make sure you reach out and let me know what your biggest takeaway was